you should be a monster. He said you should be a monster, you should be ruthlessly ambitious, and then learn how to control it. And it's that old expression, it's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war.
You should be a monster, an absolute monster, and then you should learn how to control it.
Life isn't fair at all. At all. So what are you gonna do about it? I knew that no one was coming back to help me. No one was gonna miracle me to be somebody special. So, mentality is the only thing that gets us through life. I was an underdog. We are all underdogs in life. Even the baddest person in the world should think that way. So you should always have I've never arrived mentality. And the can't hurt me mentality is no matter where you come from, the sewer or wherever you think you're from. When I got out of the sewer, I got to the road and looked around and said, can't hurt me. Nothing should be able to hurt you. If you believe that, it starts to become true.
This person doesn't care about the pain because this person knows something. There's no gain without pain. So this person comes back anyhow, again and again. And if you keep on hitting that wall, here's what happens to you. You will have an incredible breakthrough. And it's as if the universe says, let's help him out. I admire that kind of tenacity. Let's give her a hand. Let's send her assistance, send her resources. It will come out of nowhere. As you're working times with tears falling down your face, and you'll look back on the times and you will cherish those times.
You obviously don't fucking want it bad enough. Because a person that you want to, I became obsessed. I became obsessed with being the baddest motherfucker that God ever created. Am I that? I don't care. I believe it. And I was trying to tell him, once you become obsessed with something, obsessed, it's okay to be unbalanced for a while. It's okay. Don't be all this stuff people say, you got to be balanced. To be the best in the world at what you do. It's not about being a Navy SEAL, people. The best at what you do, you have to be unbalanced to find every bit of energy and strength that you have to pull it off. Then you get balanced once you become great. And then you help other people become better from you being the best in the world. So if your family doesn't understand, why are you so daggone crazy? Because I'm trying to be the best I can to give you the best that I am. And it takes being fucking obsessed to where people think you're crazy.
You can be a history maker, or you can be liked by everyone around you. You can't be both. I mean, the very nature of living your personal greatness and doing something otherworldly in our world of ours means you're going to have to think differently from the majority. You're going to have to install the habits and routines that most people don't do. You're going to have to live, talk, breathe, walk, work, produce, create in a way that most people who are card-carrying members of the cult of mediocrity just don't buy into. I mean, you look at most people out on the world today, and this is not judging, this is just reporting, but they're addicted to entertainment, they love gossiping, they're negative, they're toxic. Anyone who wants to do anything great, they want to bring them down, they dismiss the game changers, and they're just coasting through life. And so the very nature of you stepping up your game, living your greatest potential, owning your craft, dominating your field, and living a life that's legendary means you're going to have to leave the 5% and make a decision to live as very few people do. And what does that mean? It means you're going to be laughed at. It means you're going to be ridiculed. It means you're going to be misunderstood because leadership is a lonely sport, and it means you just might be hated. And so there is great value when people start to hate you. Because if you look at Jay-Z, I mean, I was reading his biography, and he said, you know, I really knew that I was having influence in the popular culture when people started hating me. If you look at a lot of the great authors, when their books go to #1 globally, a lot of the amateurs actually start to say, oh, that's garbage, I could put them down. I watched a documentary last night on Steve Aoki, the famous EDM, electric dance music DJ who's getting so much traction in the world right now. And he was talking about some of the comments that he sees in the social media. And it was things like garbage and, boring and amateurish music and whatever. Even though he's so skilled. I mean, you just watch the documentary called I'll Sleep When I'm Dead. And you just see the skill. And you can just look at any great athlete, and you can look at any great scientist, you can look at any great chef, you can look at any great artist, you can look at any great author, you can look at any great statesman, you can look at any world-class stateswoman. Anyone who has done something at an exceptional level breeds cynics and dismissers. So, the point is simply this: the very nature of doing something that very few people are willing to do means that the majority will laugh at you. Why? Because deep inside, they know they have the opportunity to do something great too. And your example makes them feel guilty. And all I'm suggesting to you with great love and respect is simply this: you do have a choice. You can listen to your haters, you can be one of the haters, you can join the victim herd, you can dismiss people who are doing great things, or you can reach into yourself and ask yourself this fundamental question: what do I want to stand for the rest of my life? Do I really want to rise to mastery? Do I want to get to the last hour of my last day and know that I took every ounce of the human potential I was blessed with, and through easy times and difficult times, I brought it on. And as a result of my values, my mindsets, my heart set, my habits, my routines, my disciplines, I owned my game, and I modeled possibility, and I served lots of people, and I built a great lifestyle. And now it's the last hour of my last day, and I'm surrounded by my loved ones. And even though people threw stones at me, I took those stones, and rather than being knocked down, I constructed a monument of mastery that stands as my legacy. And if you live like that, you'll be one of the great ones, which is my greatest wish for you.
If you find your passion, you're going to have this tremendous energy. It's sustainable energy. But momentum requires you always do the next thing to keep the momentum going. And the reason you get yourself in a passionate place is so that you change your life, and the only thing that changes your life is making a decision. So while you're in this passionate state, that's where you make decisions. You don't make decisions when you're like, oh, I don't know, what do you think? All right, let's decide. If you make a decision in a state without momentum, if you make a decision from a place where there's no passion, you are not going to get momentum. It'll kill momentum. It's decide, commit, and resolve. Some of you, in the past, you've gotten momentum, you've gotten passionate, you've even made a decision, but a decision is the first step. Decision is like a war. I got to do this or that. All right, I'm going to make myself do this. But commitment is when you now, after you've decided, you commit to do this for the long term. Whether it's hard or easy, doesn't matter. You're doing this. It takes it from this moment and it carries it into the future even when things are difficult. And the third state is resolve. Resolve means it's done. It's like, it doesn't even if you took action, it's done inside you, so it's done out there. There's no question whatsoever. Then once you decide, the only way the commitment and the energy and the momentum continues is if you take immediate, massive what, my friends? Massive what? Write down in your notes, massive action is the cure-all. Massive action is the cure-all. If you're having a difficult time with something, your relationship isn't where you want it to be, your finances are not where you want to be, your body's not where you want to be, your business is not where you want to be, you need to take massive action. And if that doesn't work, try something else. If that doesn't work, try something else. Keep going with massive action, and you will find the way because it will give you momentum.
Sometimes achievement is not the problem. Alignment is. Like, you all get a lot done, right? You're busy, you got to-do lists, you're knocking off checklists, but sometimes getting some things done, that's not the problem. It's alignment. You've got to realign with the truth of who you are. What does that mean? Well, first, you got to recognize where you're not living your authentic life right now. If you want to feel a greater connection with purpose right now, let's figure out what we got to stop doing. Well, we better stop trying to run an old model of what other people expected of us. We have to stop trying to live the life other people want us to live and reconnect with the truth of who we are, realign with our intentions, our interests, our passions, our desires to create and serve. Listen, all purpose begins, the hunt for purpose begins with the realignment to personal truth. All purpose begins with the realignment to personal truth, like dialing it back into who you really are. What it is that you want at this stage of your life. What are you interested in? What are you passionate about? What are you excited about? Noticing where you're living your life in obligation or reaction, right? Obligation because you think you have to fit somebody else's mold. Reaction because you're just always reacting to everybody else's emergency. And so suddenly your life isn't really your life. And so no wonder you don't feel purposeful. You'll never feel purposeful until you realign with your personal truths, the core of who you are, to notice what is authentic for you. Some of you are in relationships, you know that's not authentic to you. You know you're there out of obligation. You know you're there because you just kind of fell into it. But the truth of who you are is saying, please listen, this is not us. You know what? So many people are faking it. They're faking who they are. They're faking to create some perception of themselves, to position themselves a certain way. They're not living who they are, and they know they're lying. They don't dress how they want to dress. They don't speak how they want to speak. They can't find an authentic flow throughout the day because they're always trying to be somebody else or perform for somebody else versus doing who they are. If you want to connect to purpose, you've got to start doing who you are again. You've got to tap right back in and realign to your personal truths. Realign to the core of who you are. Listen to your soul again. If your soul is screaming for change, you got to change. Otherwise, you'll never feel purpose. You've got to reconnect to that part of you that's like, oh my gosh, this is me. Where have I been? I know where you've been. You've been caged by other people's expectations. You've been caged by false obligations, by thinking you have to be the savior of everybody, by thinking you have to do everything. You've been caged by doing work or things that's not even in alignment with your passions, but you're doing it for a paycheck.
Learn to use your time, for if you don't, it passes on, never to return, coldly mindless of your sorrow and your regret. As steadily, silently, and smoothly as does this aged earth move in its path, so does time move on. It never stops to tie its shoestrings. It never waits. Time is effort, harnessed and worked to a full day's portion. Time has no business, boasts no moneyed millions, hires no fast-legged errand boys, houses no clerks, thinks no problems, rules no states. Time is business, money, the errand boy, the clerk, the problem, the state. Time is but the man in the job put to action and to work. And time used to profit. Today will accumulate power for you tomorrow, just as sure as time goes on. Meditate not on trifles. Attempt big things, remembering that this day will never dawn again. And yet, mighty as time is, priceless in comparison to all else in the world, time is the freest thing in existence. Perhaps that is why so many fail to grasp it with earnestness and with enthusiasm. Perhaps that is why so few realize its presence and let it pass on. Think, no matter what your work today, if it is worthwhile at all, time to plan it out, time to do it well, and time to finish it. is your day's greatest gift and your greatest job. Learn to use your time. Think. No matter what your work today, if it is worthwhile at all, time to plan it out, time to do it well, and time to finish it, is your day's greatest gift and your greatest job. Learn to use your time. In success, defeat is but an incident. Obstacles, stumbling blocks, disappointment in ideals, these things weave into and form the raiment to success. For success is a series of failures. Put to flight. Learn to walk past failure. A few years ago, a young man stood behind a New England counter as a clerk. Quiet, honest, faithful, yet a failure in the eyes of his employer, who one day drew aside the father of the boy and advised that the son be taken back to the farm, for he never would become a merchant. Today, if you will but walk down State Street, Chicago, you will behold this young man's monument, a tribute to the failures, disappointments, and iron persistence of Marshall Field, who died the greatest merchant in the world. Learn to walk past failure. But success isn't measured in tangible assets. Lincoln left next to nothing in money standards. His success, though, is the marvel and inspiration of the ages. Learn to walk past failure. Success is largely a matter of personal viewpoint. It is impossible for you to fail permanently if you determine to succeed. Let each new day of your life, then, take inventory of its own self. Let it chalk up the failures with the successes. Let it mark plainly the record. But inside your own consciousness, let nothing take from the image of your mind the knowledge that real success consists wholly in sacrificing temporarily in repeated failures that you may win permanently in worthwhile deeds done. Learn to walk past failure. Immortality is but a simple matter of decision, a decision to dare. Initiate, dare. All the world loves the man who isn't afraid to dare, a man willing to start something without first waiting a week to figure out the cost. It always takes courage, sometimes courage mixed with blood and iron. But the man ready to dare is the creator of great events. Initiate, dare. Better make mistakes, better blunder along making some healthy headway than to fear failure or grow timid and vacillating and flabby in the legs. Become a man of daring and doing, and the powers that are so latent in every human will rise to aid you and push you on. Initiate, dare. You will never be anything unless you dare something. Initiate, dare. Dare to attempt new things. Dare to try out new jobs. Dare to go ahead, kicking aside precedent if necessary, and you will have no time to shovel out your pain-wrecked hopes and dead dreams. Dare to be a better man at your present task than the man who went before you. Dare to be a bigger man than the man above you. Be. But if you are, you will first have to initiate, dare.